What is going on this morning? Couple of things. First, we're gonna do our first whatnot auction tonight after our normal live stream on the big channel. So we always do the live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So at 9:15 Eastern time, we're actually going to do a whatnot auction. I'll leave a link to the auction in the description of this video and in the pinned comment, so you can come and hang out. If you've never tried DylanTalksTone stuff, this is going to be the time to do it because you're going to get deals that you're not going to get anywhere else. These will never be on the website. Like these kind of deals and stuff, they'll never be on the website. And actually, we may never do it again. To be honest with you, I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. Yeah. So anyway, custom stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff. So I think you're going to dig it. We're going to give away a couple of things, etc. So definitely come check it out. The whatnot thing's pretty interesting. My wife uses it a lot. It seems very cool. So come check it out. Today we're going to talk about guitar problems that don't actually exist. We've talked about them before. Obviously, these are things that people talk about all the time. But I think I'm starting to zone in on one of the things that I like to use this channel for, and it's to take things that are part of other discussions on the big channel and further sort of dive into the actual reasonableness of this stuff. Okay, so like people just say things, right? And then more people, if like 3 people say something, then 10 people say something. Well, now on the internet, thousands of people can say something, and all of a sudden it becomes like truth, and it's not. It's still, it literally becomes a belief system, which then becomes a religion. So you have all these people who are like just like devout to these aspersions that they make about guitar stuff that is just like, you're like, dude. And here's why I want to talk about it, is because I think a lot of times if you're just presented with a reasonable perspective, it just makes people think. Now, I'm not going to try to change your mind with any of this stuff, but what I want to do is at least present a different perspective. And if you walk away from any of these videos on the second channel and go, yeah, that's stupid, never mind, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But this is my place to sort of do that, because we don't really have, it doesn't fit in the SEO model and the like building of the other channel, right? Like, so that's why we do it here. So, a lot of people would take these videos as he's being negative and blah, blah. It's not that. It's literally, I just want to present reasonableness. So because of y'all's criticism, I'm going to sort of reform that. Cause yeah, talking about negative comments all the time, I get that. Yeah, that sucks. It's dumb. So to reform that into a more constructive thing, this is what we're going to do. So today we're going to talk about, so that little rant aside, I didn't mean to put that all in there, but it gives you an idea. So today we're going to talk about things that aren't really true, really, when it comes down to it. We're going to talk about Gibson pegheads. Don't worry, I'll get there. But let's talk about Floyd Rose. Floyd Roses are actually just as easy as any other tremolo system. Probably not as easy as a Bigsby to like restring, but Bigsby's are a pain to restring too. If you have a floated tremolo on any guitar, it is the same exact thing, whether it's a Floyd Rose or not. Now, a Floyd Rose looks much more complicated because there's a lot of screws and it looks like there's a lot of things going on there. The additional complication might be setting the intonation, but once you get that little $20 tool, it's very, very simple. Floyd Roses are not difficult. They just have a language to them, so if you're a Mac guy and you get a PC, you kind of have to relearn how to copy and paste. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So some people will not be willing to go from a Mac to a PC to copy and paste. I think about this because I've got a PC in the garage and I'm a Mac guy. It bugs me every time. So I always have to ask Leslie, like, what do I do? I can't remember how to do blah, blah, blah. And, because I don't use it very often. That's kind of the thing. And for most of us with Floyd Roses, we might have one. Some people will have 10 and they'll be like, yeah, they're no problem. But if you have a bunch of Gibsons and then you have a Floyd Rose guitar, yeah, you're going to find it a little bit of a pain, but it's literally just a language. You're learning a language, right? And so if you're willing to do that, you're going to find aspects that you're going to like. So they're not difficult. It's just, think of it that way, like copy and paste on a Windows machine versus copy and paste on an Apple machine. Like you just kind of have to think about it differently. So that's really the reality. People want to create more drama around that guitar than it needs to be. We had a big conversation a couple weeks ago about single coils being unbearably noisy. In 2012, maybe. But in 2026, there's a lot of ways to remedy that, right? And I know that there are still situations where it applies. I get it. If there's a couple of places that I used to play a lot here, that I really couldn't play a P90 guitar there because it was just they were super noisy. And my pickups are pretty quiet. But because of that specific environment, it just didn't work. But on the whole, for most of us playing at home, like, if you're the normal guy, if you're a normal guitar player and you have normal expectations about yourself and what you do, then you're going to be using some normal amp and some normal house in 2026 with normal pedals and normal everything. And it's not going to be that big a deal. You know what I mean? There will always be an outlier, and there will always be the guy that jumps in the comments to be the outlier. We get you. We see you. We understand. And we know you're right because you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. In your situation, this probably sucks and you need humbuckers. But for the majority of us, single coils are fine. There's the whole bolt-on necks versus glued-on necks. That's just a dumb argument, to be honest with you. Think about this, okay? You can take a bolt-on neck and glue it in, and it changes nothing. It changes nothing. You can use a long tenon neck or a short tenon neck, and it changes nothing, tone-wise. Because once two pieces are put together like this, it doesn't matter whether they are here or here or here, or this one is bigger and this one is smaller. This contact is always going to be what it is. If you push it together harder, it doesn't change. We talked about engineering yesterday. The engineering of this is, if there's good contact, there's good contact, period. And honestly, the surface area of the contact does not matter as much. So you could mill out the middle and just have contact points on the end, and it doesn't actually matter that much from an engineering standpoint. So, like when you put a shim in a Telecaster, for example, and you don't have full contact in there, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. From an engineering standpoint, it just doesn't matter. But people, okay, well, now I need the wedge thing, and from Stumac and whatever. Fine, that's cool. They have great products. We have a link in the description, and we make money every time you buy that thing. So I'm not telling you not to buy it, but just the dogmatic approach to thinking that you need all this stuff to solve a problem that doesn't actually exist. Sustain in a guitar really has to do with, more so when you look at it on a pie chart, the percentage of the mechanical efficiency of the string. So do we get down to where the neck is joined to the guitar? Yeah. But by then, most of that vibration is actually gone. So we want to make sure that we retain that with the mechanical efficiency of the string, which is saddles and nut and et cetera, et cetera. So by the time you get out to, these other points in the guitar, it's really just minimized a lot. Of course, we could always talk about the cheap guitar versus expensive guitar thing. And when you look at that objectively, um, the materials in most more expensive instruments are of higher quality. There's no way to argue that. You cannot argue it. Now, so what I mean by that is wood selection. So let's take, for example, the Ventera 3 that just came out. Okay. I think those are going to be excellent instruments. However, I believe that the wood selection is the reason I'm not going to buy one. Not because of tones, bro, but because weight. All of those guitars are almost 9 pounds and over 9 pounds. I think that's too heavy for a Fender, in my opinion. I just don't like it. It's a preference. You can we can talk about it all you want, but I just don't like it. I'm not a heavy guitar guy. Now, I have a Les Paul. It's 9 pounds. I give that one a slide because they are all heavy. But in my opinion, a Fender should be 7 or less. So just the way I like them. It's just the way I like them. It's just an opinion. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just an opinion. It's just how I feel. You might feel differently. You might like heavier guitars. So I think that wood selection is incorrect. Now you go to a higher end guitar and you're probably going to have a single piece, lighter body, because they've actually selected the wood correctly. You're going to have more stable cuts of wood. Quarter sawn, not necessary, but you're going to have more stable cuts of wood and more consistent cuts of wood for neck lengths. Okay. I know this for sure because I talk to the people that buy the wood for the guitar companies. I talk to the people who do all of the design and stuff I have friends that do all this stuff for the big guitar companies. And what they will tell you is where the difference is the selection of the materials. Okay. So does that matter to you? It may not. It may not. Because it's not all about the tone, bro. It's about a lot of other things, right? It's about the stability and the long-term stability of the guitar, the ability for it to react to environmental changes. Cheap guitars don't do that as well. And the reason is because of the selection of materials. And we're talking statistically broad here. You probably have a Harley Benton that never goes out of tune. Everybody does when we have these conversations, but I'm just talking about in general the engineering behind it. That's why they make those choices. The metallurgy of all the hardware, cheaper screws versus more expensive screws, like those sort of things that make the guitar easier to work on and last longer. If you're spending $3,000 for something, you want it to last 100 years. You know what I mean? Like I have $3,000 and $4,000 guitars, and I have no problem with that. Because if I amortize that out over $3,000 over the rest of my life, then I'm totally fine with the cost of that guitar. We routinely buy a brand new car, keep it for 3 or 4 years, trade it in, and lose $3,000 or $4,000 routinely. Like it just goes away. The money just goes away, and we don't even think about it. So why do we piss and moan over a couple of grand over a lifetime? It's a weird mentality. I don't understand that. So that's the thing. If you really look at it from a reasonable perspective and kind of stretch it out and see the bigger picture, this is why I'm talking about this on this channel. So speaking of lasting a long time, let's talk about Gibson pegheads. First of all, let's talk about neck dive on SGs. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. You play with 2 hands. Okay. I don't know anybody that plays with 1 hand. Okay. The drummer from Def Leppard's a drummer. He's not a guitar player, right? I don't know anybody who plays with 1 hand. If you play with 1 hand, you're amazing. I want to see your YouTube channel. I bet you have a lot of followers. I take that back. I have 2 friends that play with 1 hand. They actually have 1 hand, and I have a friend who, and this is not disrespectful to him, he's awesome, but his picking hand is actually a nub. It's like a round nub, and he picks with a round. It's insane. He's amazing. And then I have another friend who plays in Atlanta, and he plays with a hook, with a pick in his hook. Okay, so, but he's also playing with 2 appendages, and here, therefore, balance is not a thing. And actually, my friend in Atlanta plays an SG. So I guess I need to take that back about the one-handed thing playing an SG. But you understand what I'm saying. If you let go of the guitar and it slides down, that's not a thing. It doesn't matter. Unless you're, getting the crowd going, there's no reason to worry about it, right? You play with two hands, neck dive's not a thing. If you find it a little annoying, either don't buy an SG or you could, again, and this comes back to willingness to invest, buy a good strap, okay? I've got these anthology straps. They're about $150 a piece, but man, are they amazing. And my SG don't slide around at all, okay? So it's all about investment. It's all about willingness to put aside those kinds of biases and understand that there are solutions, right? It's no big deal. Next, we're going to talk about the peghead thing. Pegheads don't just come off of guitars, okay? The Gibson peghead thing is literally not a thing. If you don't drop your guitar, it will not break. If you take care of your guitar, it will not break. If you play your guitar normally and use it for the purpose which is intended, it will not break. There have been millions of songs written and played live on Gibson Les Pauls and SGs and whatever else that have never broken. I think that the Gibson peghead thing has not been a big deal until the gear page and the internet. The percentage, they make 500 something guitar, 500 to 600 guitars a day, every day in Gibson Nashville. So just based on that, the percentage, even in 1 month of guitar peghead breaks that we hear is just a non-thing. It's just a non-thing. And then if you take out negligence, then it really becomes a non-thing. And when I say negligence, I mean, if you understand the design of a guitar, don't leave it on a stand at a gig where you think it's going to get knocked over. Well, I shouldn't have to worry about that. Okay. You shouldn't have to worry about that. Okay. I shouldn't have to pay $4,000 or $3,000 to buy a Gibson and then have to worry about the peghead breaking off. Okay. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Let me Google something real quick here. Dang it, why is my keyboard must have died. Audi. Bear with me. Q7. All right. I was going to check this earlier. Okay, so the tail lamp, okay, in my Audi Q7, and this is not the blacked out one. I think the blacked out one actually costs more. I have the blacked out package. Is $1,213.85. Okay. I shouldn't pay $80,000 for a car and then expect that if I back into my mailbox that shouldn't be able to hold up. Is the dumbest thing that has come out of my mouth today. Probably the dumbest thing that will come out of my mouth today because I'm smarter than that. So I shouldn't have to pay this much money and have to worry about it. Well, if you have a $1,200 tail lamp in your car and you expect that you could accidentally back into your mailbox and not do damage to it, you are a fool. And if you are a fool, then chances are you are negligent in the respect that you probably don't worry if you back into your mailbox or not. Now, accidents happen. I get it. But accidents don't happen without consequences. In no situation is there a time when an accident happens without consequences. I mean, sometimes you can get away with something. Like, oh crap, that was close. But most of the time not. So why would we expect anything else from a guitar? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Right? So if you leave it on a stand at a gig and it gets knocked over and the peg head doesn't break, you go, oh crap, that was close. If it does break, you blame Gibson? I don't understand. Well, my tail lamp on my car should be thicker. I spent $80,000 on this car. I should have an indestructible tail lamp. Said no one ever. I don't get it. So there you go. Just think about things from a more reasonable, wider perspective. That's all I'm asking you to do with this channel. You guys are awesome. I've been having a lot of fun, and thanks for your input on it. Because to really be fair to you all, you're right, and so I have like, let me hone in on what we want to do here and make this more constructive. So thank you for that. I really mean it. And it's gonna be fun. We'll see you.